Hi everybody!
Hello.
Welcome to Moonlight Ponderings. I'm Ronnie Moonborn.
And I'm Severine.
And today we're doing something a little different. It was suggested by my friend Laura that maybe we start reviewing movies and TV shows that have witchy elements in them. And for our first movie, we're going to review a movie that I feel like a lot of people were like, it was their intro into witchcraft in general. And you probably already know what it is. It's The Craft.
Yeah, most people I think that I've read about like getting into it, especially like if it was like teen years, was like right after seeing that movie.
I saw it, I was 11 the first time. And that's when I was like not even really Christian, but like not nowhere near being a witch.
I actually didn't watch it until I was, I don't know, I was probably 18.
And Firechild's first time was with us watching it. And like,
Yeah, that was cray. And I'd already watched I'm younger than most people, so like I was growing up when Harry Potter was a thing, and so that was like my introduction, really, I guess, as far as like witch goes. But no, Charmed. I watched Charmed.
yeah, we will be tackling that one later. Yeah. But here we go. So in my notes, first thing I mentioned is like, it's just more of a reaction, I guess, is like the 90s music. The movie's very dated.
Yeah, well, you're gonna run into that in general, though. I mean,
It's dated in a positive way, though. Like if you're nostalgic of the 90s, I feel like people who are teenagers in the 90s are like, "Aww."
yeah, I mean, and I don't know, like when I was growing up too, that kind of goth scene style was a thing and popular amongst some people.
In my notes, I also have like goth equals witch apparently because they all dress in black, all the time. And I was just like, okay. I just remember thinking also, where are they getting all this stuff? Because they had some neat stuff. I was like, I want some of this ritual stuff that y'all have.
Yeah, I know. Like watching it when you're not versus watching when you are a witch is very different. Because I remember watching it and not really paying attention to the stuff they were using, and then I'm sitting there watching it the first time in years, and also after I've gotten into my practice, and I'm like, they're using a sage wand. And all the candles.
Oh, and the incense and stuff like that. So I will say, I do feel like they did take some real elements of actual practice of witchcraft. The only thing I was a little like was Manon.
Well, I read that was because there was really no way to bring a deity-like figure into it without it being offensive. And obviously, like, people are gonna try to associate whatever with the devil on the Christian side of things. So I think they probably just were like, this will make more
Well, you
sense.
did the research on it, so was it just a made-up thing that they did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
They made him up.
Because I was like, I don't remember reading anything about this deity, and I was just like,
he not real. That's why.
But so the cast, spoiler alerts if you guys haven't seen it, we're going to be telling some spoilers, but the kid stars Fairuza Balk, Robin Tunney, Neve Campbell, and Rachel True, who I had such a crush on the first time watching the movie. Oh my gosh, I was in love with her.
She's beautiful.
She's a beautiful woman.
I guess all of them are really, really beautiful in their own differing ways.
I will say, at the time I watched it, I didn't think her storyline was that big. I was like, But now as an adult, I was like, wow, her storyline is actually kind of prevalent to today, actually. because we have the openly racist people now, and like she went to a predominantly white school, and you kind of see this today where, right, like I said, racism is just kind of open. So it's like, oh, you know, it's like still a thing. Like America didn't get any, society didn't get any better. Like,
yeah,
lovely. Not that, sorry. But other than that storyline for her, though, I will admit her character's kind of bland. But so was like Nev Campbell's character. Like the stars of this show are Robin Tunney and Fairuza Balk's characters, and Robin Tunney plays Sarah, and
Fairuza Balk plays Nancy.
Yes, and even though I will say I really think that like Robin Tunney was like the '90s Kristen Stewart. She just watched The Craft, and then watched like the first Twilight. You're gonna be like, is this her younger sister or something?
I think she's more expressive though than Kristen Stewart is in Twilight. And not knocking Kristen Stewart, because I actually don't really have a problem with her. You know, if you ever read the books, she did what the character kind of calls for. I mean,
I find her so much more interesting now than
yeah,
then.
she's got better movies.
But that being said, going on, there's a lot of snakes in this movie.
You have a problem with...
I don't like snakes, but oh my gosh, I think the director was in love with snakes apparently, because like the homeless guy at the beginning of the movie is like, I brought you a snake. She runs into him later, I got you another snake. Like, and then Nancy's like, snakes are amazing.
Yeah, which I'm not sure exactly if there's like, I feel like there's probably a reason that snakes were so prominent.
There's a lot of obvious things happening in the movie too, like they go to a Catholic school.
Yeah.
Because you know. It's just like, we're gonna be witches, so what's the opposite of witches? They actually, going back to what we were saying about the tools that they were using, they used like a witch's almanac, which I thought was kind of cool. I'm like, wow, like they're using some real tools that like we did. They had vision books and stuff like that, even though like the movie kind of promoted theft. There was a line, everything in nature steals. It's like, well, you know, everything in nature works for what it gets too. The love interest for Robin Tunney, who, is am I saying her name right? I feel like I'm butchering her name. Tani, Tahiti?
I don't know.
Anywho, it's like, he's such a douche. Like, why was she interested in him at all?
Well, I mean, that's pretty typical in high school, though. You're usually interested in douchey guys.
Oh my gosh, it's just like, yes, I'm like gonna be attracted to this guy that already talks shit about people. That's what I'm looking for in a relationship.
I kind of liked that they didn't go the stereotypical, that's her love thing.
Well, I'm like, one of his friends was better looking than him. I was just like, not the annoying one. If you watch the movie, you know which one I'm talking about. The annoying one could just, like, get hit by a train. Oh, I wrote down pencil magic in my notes. Because she's like, at one point she's holding this pencil and just, like, she's going. And then Nev Campbell looks over and goes, and that makes her lose her concentration, apparently. And she's like, the pencil falls, and she doesn't pick it up. She's like, whatever. I feel like you need to scooch over a little more. You were like not in the frame. There we go.
Telekinesis.
She has one of the 7 wonders.
Yeah. I think what I like about the movie, watching it, is that there is kind of this almost playful approach when they are doing spells, which I see there's problems, and also how Nancy reacts to that. But in general, I mean, I think that it's a very interesting dynamic going on in the movie.
Well, Sarah and Nancy are by far the most interesting characters, and like Nancy almost seems like a good friend at first. Like, to me, that was when I noticed. I was like, huh. She doesn't go crazy until after she invokes the spirit, which is not a thing. At least not by non.
Well, I mean, you can invoke, but not my mom.
But like, the power goes to her head apparently, and she just gets crazy. So she will straight up kill people.
Yeah, there really was this genuine moment over the guy where she's like, I told you he was a jerk. And it was like, she was genuinely hurt and trying to warn her. And
that she didn't listen to her, and she's like, look, I told you, and I'm sorry that happened to you. And then Sarah reveals that she killed herself, and first of all, this character's like, shit. But no, she was just like, oh, sorry, and this, like, she tries to cheer her up, like, let's lighten the mood. And I was like, wow, she's genuinely trying to be a good friend. Like, she just comes off a little abrasive.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you look at the two of them, they definitely had interesting backstories, because Nancy's coming from the broken home and
the poor, like she's very poor apparently, and whereas Sarah, her family looks well off because that house was huge. Like, it was a mansion, I would say almost. Like, it was huge.
But there's definitely still, like, sadness in both of their stories, despite coming from these very different backgrounds. And it's interesting too, because if you think about the elements that they kind of represent in the movie, Nancy is air and Sarah is earth.
Opposites, so it is
exact opposites.
And it reflects in the movie. And it just, you feel a lot of words.
Blah, 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 blah.
But research was put in this. I do feel like the writers tried to, like, put some research into this. Find out it was a book later and be like, oh, whoops.
If we do find out, we'll let you know in the next one.
I'll probably read it.
But yeah, I really enjoyed rewatching it and kind of seeing the different perspective as a witch now versus not being one before. But anyway, I really enjoyed seeing feeling that it was different watching it then versus now. And actually being able to understand what was going on and all that stuff.
Well, like, I would even say, going back to talking about Nancy's crazy, even when, like, she started to go a little crazy, there's a, like, almost rape that happens in the movie to Sarah, and Nancy's still like, oh, I gotta, like, get revenge for my friend, So it's just like, wow, it was coming from a dark place. It was still, like, you could tell that she still wanted friendship with this girl, but, like...
Yeah, and I think that's probably why it turned so opposite. Because she was willing to do so much for her, and then I think that she kind of twisted it in her mind that Sarah was not grateful for it.
Well, also, Nancy was doing a lot of selfish things with her power that she got. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the lesson was, like, try not to be as selfish with your power.
Mm-hmm. Well, I definitely think that there's a lot to be learned in how to practice and what's safe, what's not,
I would say Charmed isn't my favorite witchy movie. It isn't even really my introduction movie. We're going to be covering my introduction movie.
Charmed?
I said Charmed.
You did.
The Craft was not my introduction film. It was another film which we were planning on talking about later. Mm-hmm. Which is one of my favorite films.
Yeah, like I said, my introduction was really Charmed.
Which is ironic because the opening theme for Charmed is played in
The Craft.
The Craft. You hear the song, so I'm wondering, did they just steal the song because it was in The Craft?
I wonder if it wasn't just because it is kind of. It might actually have actual witchy overtones.
I never really listened to the whole song, so to be fair.
Tattoo has a version of it.
Aw.
Yeah.
I love them, but I don't like them.
We still love one of them. She's okay.
But, anyways, that being said, I would recommend people watch. If you've never seen The Craft and you are, by all means, consider yourself a witch, give it a watch. It's entertaining. And I don't think it was trying to be offensive. It does take on the whole Magic Ben's reality thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that you have to kind of understand that they're going to take liberties.
Yeah, it's Hollywood up. Like,
you know, but it definitely, that is one thing I think that maybe, because pop culture has this very skewed view of we gotta up this by actually making the magic visible and happen. You have people that are like, oh, so you think that you could shoot fire out of your hands? You know you can't do that, right?
well, like, and I think a lot of what they did was, like, illusionary, though, too. So, that was neat.
Yeah. Well, I think there was almost this implication that a lot of what was going on was kind of in the realm of the mind, which I appreciated. I don't know that just anyone would pick it up, you know, but...
Yeah, because it was never like they pointed their finger and, like, sparkles happened or energy shot forth. I think, trying to remember a scene where it seemed like the most... there's a scene where, like, the girl fades into her clothes almost like that and then just pops right back out. I think that was, like, the most fantastical thing that happened.
Oh, when they did the hair change thing, and
which was horrible special effects, by the way.
When Nancy turned into Sarah. That was probably...
That was more so, but that was a good effect.
It was
I would
a good
say.
effect.
And then the light as a feather
Stiff as a board.
game, which is not a witch thing. That is a sleepover thing. But I mean, to be fair, they were at a sleepover.
Mm-hmm.
But they ended up levitating a girl.
I mean, it's interesting. I think that
the characters are likable, even though I would say some of them are a little bland at times. I will say that Rachel True's character, her antagonist in her storyline, you don't feel sorry for at all. You're like, no, let the racist bitch's hair fall out.
Yeah, I would agree that I feel like they put a lot of focus on Nancy and Sarah, and maybe that's kind of for the better, because if they had divided it too much at that particular time, I don't know that the stories would have been...
Well, Neve Campbell's issue was like she was burned. But it wasn't visible burns, really, either, as far as, like, it wasn't on her face. Or, like, she just wore a lot of long sleeve clothes and stuff like that, and she was very self-conscious about it. And then they do a ritual that makes her burns go away. So, of course, Neve Campbell, being a very beautiful person, is all just like, oh, I'm slutty now. Maybe not slutty, but, like, she was like, look at me.
Look at me. Me. But
And, like, her character used to be very sweet and then became very vain.
I kind of wonder how that movie would do remade. Like,
that is one I think he deserves a remake.
A good remake. And one that could kind of focus on all of them. Because I would like to see the other two get a little bit more
Developed
than what they were.
It would even be interesting to see it as, like, a mini-series or something. So that way, you know, you can actually take time.
What if it was more than where the movie left off?
But I guess I just had a thought. The Craft is like Mean Girls meets Harry Potter.
That's probably a an accurate
analogy.
I would feel like. I mean, technically Mean Girls was after The Craft, but still, it's got the
elements.
girl power.
Bullying girl and
yeah, I would agree with that. It's a good movie. I definitely would say that I'd watch it again. I've watched it twice, or no, 3 times now. Yeah.
I own it, so I've seen it a few times.
But it's a good movie.
We're planning on. There's a few on Netflix we're going to watch. We have seen Sabrina. I don't know if we decided if we were going to do an episode by episode thing with that, or if we were just going to do it as a whole. Because
maybe we can with the next season as it's coming out.
I think that's smart.
Because that would be pretty cool. But we can just talk about what we think about season 1.
But I'm excited for this because I do feel like we were running out of content to talk about. We're actually going to be revisiting some of our old content from when we weren't showing our faces. Mm-hmm. Because I think some of our opinions might have changed. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be fun. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye. Like us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and hit that subscription button, hit that notification bell. And until then, stay magical, guys.